After my double mastectomy surgery, I had a plan, but things didn't quite happen as I expected. There were some complications from the tissue expander to having infection and then having an early surgery, which I wasn't expecting. But this taught me one thing, that even though things don't work out as you plan, they can still work out for your good. Hello guys, welcome back. On this video, I would like to share with you the breast reconstruction part of my journey. So what the surgeon explained, what happened, and what I went through personally. And this is after chemo and the MRI exam that showed that I had no cancer on my breast. So after the MRI, I had an appointment with the surgeon and she explained to me the next steps that I was going to have, which was a plan for my mastectomy, double mastectomy, and then the breast reconstruction. So she explained that during the mastectomy surgery, they will take out the breast tissues from my breast. They will do a pathology test and they will test to see if there were any cancer residue on my breast, anything that the MRI scan could not detect. When they will do that, if they find any residue on cancer on the tissues, they will have to test my lymph nodes. Now, they will test on the left side. If they find any cancer there, they will just have to take out all my lymph nodes. This is because from my previous diagnosis, the first time I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I had it on the left side and I had radiation therapy on that side. If I had any more cancer on that side, they won't be able to do more radiation because it would destroy my organs because they had already given me the maximum dose possible. That's for the left side. If they did find it on the right side, they will take out my lymph node and do some testing in as well. And if they found any, then I could have radiation therapy on that side because I didn't have any cancer there the first time. So all this was going to be decided during the surgery. If they did the test, the pathology test, and they found out that they didn't have or see any cancer residue on my breast at all, then there will be no need to do tests on my lymph nodes. And therefore, I will have no reason to have radiotherapy. But all this will be confirmed only during the mastectomy surgery. She also explained that if I had to have radiotherapy treatment, they won't be able to put a tissue expander in because it would just make the treatment worse. The radiotherapy and the tissue expander was not a good combination. So when they did the surgery, as God would have it, they did the pathology test and everything was clean. Yay! So I didn't need to have any test on my lymph nodes. I didn't need any radiotherapy treatment, which meant they could put in the tissue expander. And that's what they did. So during the mastectomy surgery, they took out all the breast tissues, they took out the skin and the nipple as well. And then they were able to put in the tissue expander. The tissue expander is a balloon shaped device that they put in temporarily in the breast. But that balloon has a metal port in there, which they will use to insert a needle and then fill it up with saline. So it will keep inflating. As it is inflating, it's expanding the skin. They will take out the tissue expander and then put in the breast implant. And that would give them enough skin to be able to cover the breast implant during the reconstruction surgery. Now, when putting the tissue expander in, you have two options. Either you have it under your muscle or just under the skin. Your surgeon would generally give you both options, and depending on your case, you would choose what your preference is. But in my case, we went for having it directly under the skin because this promotes healing. After the surgery, I didn't come out completely flat because they had put in the tissue expander and they had put in some sealing in it already. After the surgery, I had some complications at the hospital. I already explained that in my previous video. I'll put the link up here. But after that, I went home. I was healing properly. Drains went out. I went for my appointment to see the plastic surgeon to have the first filling put in. We couldn't do it the first time because I still had some swelling. To be able to detect where to put in the needle, they use either a magnet to find the metal port, or if the surgeon is very experienced, they can just use their hands. So she couldn't detect it, so she decided to wait a little longer for the swelling to go down a little bit more. Eventually, the next appointment, everything was ready to go, and we started having in more saline put in the tissue expanders. Now, because I had radiation on the left side, it meant my skin was tighter. So they had to add more saline on the left side compared to the right side. And that meant that sometimes I left the hospital with an uneven breast, one side looking bigger than the other. Well, one of those things is nothing much you can do about. But that was necessary to be able to pull the skin well enough to have enough space to put in the breast implants when the time came. During this process, I didn't feel much pain because when they took out the tissues, the breast tissues, they cut a lot of nerves during the process. And so I felt little to nothing during the procedure to have the saline put it in the tissue expander. All I felt was some form of tightness because I could feel my skin stretching, but that will last for maybe a day, at most two, and everything will go back to normal. So fast forward back to a couple of weeks later, I noticed that my right side was losing volume. When I went in, we realized that the tissue expander was leaking. She filled it in again and she asked me to come back the next week. When I came back, it had gone down again. And this time the expander had flipped. So the surgeon had to flip it back. This was a little painful. Around this time, I had also developed an infection with pain and fever. So I was put on antibiotics and pain medication. Because of all this, my reconstruction surgery had to be moved earlier. It was originally planned for February, and we ended up having to do it in December. And honestly, everything really does work out for our good. Because the surgery happened earlier, I didn't get the size I originally wanted. My right side is also slightly smaller because it didn't get to expand as much. But I was told that that could be fixed if I choose to. One thing I've learned is that reconstruction can be a journey of multiple surgeries. You might need adjustments over time depending on how your body heals and changes. And now I understand what my surgeon meant when she said that. Looking back now, I'm actually glad things happened the way it did. At the time, I wanted to go bigger, but now I'm grateful it stopped where it did. Sometimes what we think we want isn't always what is best for us. And so you can really see how God turns situations that feel disappointing into something good. In my next video, I'll be sharing my reconstruction surgery experience. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, God's got you, God's got me, God's got it. Take care. God bless you.